recently made a 10-minute video on how to do the running man and the T-step and put those together into a small combo. Now, as you know, the running man and the T-step are two of the foundational 5 shuffle moves. And today we're going to work on another 2 foundational shuffle moves, the Polly Pocket and the Charleston. And I'm going to show you how to do those individually and then put them together into a mini repeater combo. Now, if you don't know the Polly Pocket and the Charleston, it's a good idea to go back to my YouTube channel to the playlist called Foundational 5 Shuffle Moves. And there you can get some longer tutorials on how to do each of these moves. But I'll do a quick refresher for you. So let's start with the Polly Pocket. The Polly Pocket is almost exactly the same as the Shaper Running Man. So if you've seen my other videos on the Shaper Running Man, it looks kind of like this. Now that's slightly different from the basic running man, which is landing flat-footed. The Shaper Running Man, you're landing on your heel. It also has a slightly different perch position. And remember, it's still a perch A-shape move, but instead of perching up here and landing this way like we do for the running man, it's perch, A-shape, like this on the heel, perch again, kind of like this, and A-shape, kind of like this. Okay. So what does that have to do with the Polly Pocket? The Polly Pocket, also known as the diagonal running man, is an identical move to that, but instead of kicking out in front, we're actually going to cross body and kick to an angle at a diagonal. So let me show you that from the back. We're going to start here on a perch. Now you'll notice I'm not knee up perch here. I'm actually doing kind of a low perch because, again, we want that lower leg to swing out to land on the heel. So instead of landing forward like the Shaper Running Man, we're going to land cross body like this. Now don't get this confused with a forward heel tap. We're not doing this. That back leg has to get off of the center perch and kick way back at the opposite diagonal. So again, we're perched here. The front leg is going to go out with a kick, and the back leg is going to hop back at the same diagonal. And then to change sides, we're going to pull this right foot back to the center, same perch position with the leg kind of like this, cross body to the other side, and the back leg goes backward. And here's an actual really important tip for being able to do Polly Pockets very quickly. It's a very high intensity move, partly because in order to get that cross body, you really have to swing each of those legs around, kind of like this, and then like this, and then like this. The way to do that most efficiently is to keep your shoulders square to the front of the room. Because if I'm doing Polly Pockets like this, I have to go slow because I'm not going to have enough time to get that other leg back around. But if I'm keeping my shoulders square to the front of the room, like this, I can actually go a lot faster. And at the same time, remember that shuffle dancing has a lot of illusion going on. And one of the illusions that we try to create with shuffle dancing is that the lower half of the body is moving around a lot, while the upper body seems like it's not moving at all. Only it is, because you have to use your core to twist the opposite direction of your lower half in order to keep your shoulders square. So if I'm going like this, I'm using my torso to try to get as close to forward as I can, and my arms, by the way. Arms play a really big role in not only keeping your balance, but also getting the twist that you're looking for, and then perch back again, and then my upper body twists the opposite direction, like this. Then we return to perch again, twist, perch, twist, perch, and then you get that illusion of the upper body not moving. Okay, so that was a quickie on the Polly Pocket. Now let's move on to a quickie refresher of the Charleston. The Charleston is a heel pivot move. It's no impact, and while you can hop it if you want to, especially when you start going really, really fast, you don't have to hop it. You can keep your feet on the floor the whole time. So the Charleston, remember, starts in this pigeon-toed perch, and then the raised knee is going to go down in front as both heels turn inward. Then we're going to shift our weight to the front leg, and the back leg is going to kick to the side as the weighted heel moves out, and then we continue that along. So it's going to be toes in, heels in, switch legs, toes in, heels in, switch your weight, toes in, heels in, switch your weight, toes in, heels in, and on and on. And of course, you can also do that going backwards, and you should, because if you keep traveling forward, eventually you're going to run out of space, and you'll want to do something in order to get back to kind of where you started. So it's the same thing, toes in, but instead of putting your foot down in front, you're going to put your foot down in back, heels in. Now shift your weight to the back leg, the front leg's going to go up, toes in, and then your free leg is going to go back, again, heels in, and you can keep that going. Okay, so those are the two moves that comprise this little mini combo. So we're actually going to try to turn it into an 8 count. And we're going to do that really easily. We're just going to do 4 Polly Pockets followed by 4 Charlestons. And I will show you how to transition between each of those moves so you can keep going from Polly Pocket to Charleston, back to Polly Pocket, back to Charleston. So to do that, we're just going to start with a Polly Pocket perch. So it's kind of like this, sort of like in a figure 4. Okay, then we're going to do a Polly Pocket to the left side, a Polly Pocket to the right, a Polly Pocket to the left, a Polly Pocket to the right. So that's going to be and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, so I hope that was clear. In fact, let's do it again. Same perch, left foot, right free leg is kind of in a figure 4, and we're going to go and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now I often get the question with the Polly Pocket on whether the back foot is supposed to be all the way flat or if you're supposed to be on your toe. And when you're starting out, that actually doesn't even matter at all. You can flatten your entire foot behind if that's what makes you feel more stable and comfortable. What will happen is over the course of time, as you get faster and faster, you won't have time to put that heel down. You'll end up just landing on your toe and heel in front. And you'll be able to balance because you don't have to sit there for very long. You'll be very quickly moving into the next step. Okay, so we did the 4 Polly Pockets. Let's do one more time. I'm going to count it, but I'm going to go a little bit faster. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, now you'll notice that I ended that 4 count back in the same original perch from where I started, with everything facing forward. That's actually not going to be great to go right into the Charleston that way, because as you know, the Charleston has a pigeon-toed perch. So when we come off of that last Polly Pocket, you want to land thinking about the next move that you're going to do right after that. So after my 4th Polly Pocket and 3 and 4, I want to be prepared right here for, okay, I'm going into the Charleston next. I need to be ready for the Charleston. And then I land like this. So let me show you that whole 4 count again. It's going to be and 1, and 2, and 3, and ready, getting prepared to land for the Charleston, and 4, and. And it's actually kind of easy because you're already facing this direction. So it's not hard for this weighted foot to be facing the same direction. And you can land in a really nice pigeon toe this way. That'll allow you enough space in order to do the heel pivot. Because remember, the Charleston is a heel pivot move. Okay, so let's put that whole thing together now. We're going to do 4 Polly Pockets. We're going to land in the correct perch position for the Charleston. Then we're going to do 4 Charlestons. And then I just want to stop there. Okay, so we're starting here. 4 Polly Pockets. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and. Okay, I hope that felt good. Let's do it one more time. 4 Polly Pockets, 4 Charlestons. Don't forget about the transition. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and. Now the last thing we need to do is the transition from the Charleston back to the Polly Pocket. So remember, we came out of our 4 Charlestons and 5, 6, 7, and 8, and. Now we're in this perch position, and that's actually not a really good perch position for the Polly Pocket. So the same thing has to happen here as what we did before. We have to plan in advance for the next move, and in order to do that, we have to get the perch position right to go into that move. So if I'm going and 5, 6, 7, and 8, and that's kind of awkward to move into the Polly Pocket from this pigeon-toed perch position. It doesn't feel good. So instead, I will plan for that when I get to the last count of the Charleston. So it would be and 5, 6, 7, and 8, and. Now I am back in the perch position that we originally started with, the figure 4 perch, with both my toes pointed kind of in this angled position. And this angled position will allow me to go straight into that Polly Pocket really easily. Okay, so let's just try that transition, the single transition from the Charleston back to the Polly Pocket. So we're going to start with the count of 5, and we're just going to do our 4 Charlestons and then get ready to perch for the Polly Pocket. And 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, perch. Now I'm ready for those Polly Pockets again. So again, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and. Okay, so hope you got that. Okay, so let's just try that combo really quick. We're just going to go from the Charleston straight back into the Polly Pocket. So we're going to start on the count of 5, and then we're going to end after the 4th Polly Pocket. Okay, here we go. And remember, transitional perches between the 2 different moves. You have 4 whole counts to be planning that in your head. Starting here with the Charlestons. And 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Notice my ending perch position because I know that I've got the Charleston coming next. Okay, now I want to do that again, and I'm actually going to do it for a full 16 counts. That's going to be 4 Polly Pockets, 4 forward Charlestons, 4 Polly Pockets, 4 forward Charlestons. And remember the perch positions. Okay, here we go. Polly Pockets first, starting with a Polly Pocket perch. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and. Okay, and that is the whole combo. So let's now put it to some music. Nice and slow, 75 beats per minute. And I'm going to count it out. I'll start with 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we'll go right into those Polly Pockets. Okay, be right back. Okay, here we go. 75 beats per minute. Get in perch position. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and. Okay, hope that felt good. Now, if that's a little bit too fast for you, just go back to the count and count it out a few more times. Try to increase your speed with just the count, no music. Okay, so if you're comfortable doing that 8 count with 4 Polly Pockets and 4 Charlestons, try changing it up to 2 Polly Pockets and 2 Charlestons. It just means that you have to plan for that transition a little bit quicker, almost immediately after you do that first step. So it would be and 1, and 2, perch, 3, and 4, perch, 1, 2, perch, 3, 4, perch, 1, 2, etc. Okay, so I'm going to end it there, but I hope you have fun with this combo. Please let me know if you're having any trouble. Thanks for watching. See you next time.